is up, boys and girls? We are back with another episode of The Slip Angle, and this is a very, very special episode indeed. I am in a 2017 ND1 Mazda Miata powered by a Chevrolet LS3 Corvette engine with a T56 gearbox. This car was brought to us by Lawrence, the owner of Sarasota Super Sport Performance out of Florida. Lawrence had purchased the V8 Miata program from Flying Miata, and this is their first test car with the whole drivetrain package. So we're going to be getting lap times today, talk about the handling balance of it. Couple things to know that are important. The car made on a dynojet, 436 horsepower at the wheels with 438 pound-feet of torque. It has Fox suspension on it. This has a 235 40/17 square tire setup on it and square wheels, and it weighs 2,790 pounds full of fuel, no driver. So I had a couple laps. It's very, very rowdy. We're going to take little breaks in between because we're going to try to get the best performance out of it possible. The track is getting warm here, so we will see what she does. So the first outing here is going to be our fastest lap because we want to try to conserve tires and brakes as much as possible, and then we'll talk about more of the handling balance as we go. So I'm in third gear here, rolling up the back straight, and by the way, we're at Limerock Park on the Proving Grounds, FCP Euro Proving Grounds. This is probably my most favorite track venue in the world because it just offers a bunch of great elements to see every aspect of a vehicle that you would ever want to know. Immediately breathing on the throttle. Uber horsepower and torque on tap. But what's interesting is the car still drives like a Miata. Yes, you can feel that there's a little bit of more weight to it. There has to be because the engine is twice the size of the stock Miata engine, but I know Lawrence said he wanted a modern day 21st century Shelby Cobra. And I believe this is every bit of that, but even better because it's in a Miata. And Mazda does make some of the best suspension setups in the world. Got to be very ginger with my gas inputs. A little bit of inside wheel spin. Trying to be forgiving on the fronts there. More inside wheel spin on the rear. Seems well damped over some of these bumps. The car has a very neutral handling balance to it. It's not too understeery, it's not too oversteery, it's very forgiving in the middle. Of course, if you put your foot down, you just light up those rear tires because of how much power there is. It's only a 235 contact patch. You know, what did a C6 Corvette have? 315s in the rear, 325s? It was a much bigger tire. So these RT660 Falcon Azennis are doing a pretty good job, I would say, handling the power of this very wild, very bull-like Mazda Miata. This is probably one of the craziest Mazda Miatas I've ever driven. Doing most of our heavy braking here in a straight line, tucking the nose in gentle, feeding that throttle in, and just rock it out of the corner. Rock it, brake. and gentlemen, I think we may have just set a new record here at Limerock on the FCP Euro Proving Grounds with the Super Sports Performance LS3 V8 Miata. We're gonna give it a minute to cool down, being mindful of brakes and tires here because it is getting hot, like I said, on track. Boy, oh boy, modern day Shelby Cobra would be an understatement for this car, because when I think of a Shelby Cobra, I do think of that wild bull-like experience, but I also think it comes with very wild and crazy, almost unpredictable, seat of your pants, on the edge, handling balance to it, where it does a phenomenal job considering how much torque and power this thing is putting down to the rear wheels, especially that the ND1 only came with 155 horsepower. So this is 436 horsepower at the wheels, which is probably closer to 500 at the crank. I mean, you are exponentially increasing the performance of this car. But it does a really, really, really good job keeping it all together. It's gonna be interesting. It's got all the power in the world to pick whatever angle you want. It's just, let's see what happens when you take a originally 155 horsepower Miata, more than triple the horsepower, and try to drive it like a knucklehead and hoon it about. Should be interesting. Wheel spin. That's probably a result of the rear sway bar that this car has. It has an upgraded rear sway bar, and I don't know what setting it's in, but I typically don't like stiffer rear bars. If anything, a stock bar or no bar, depending on how stiff your spring rates are, because you'll get exactly that, some inside wheel spin. The way that Lawrence has this car set up is for customers to take delivery of it just as it is. It's snappy when you're trying to really do the knucklehead stuff. A couple just minor suspension tweaks would definitely drastically change the handling balance at the limit, but from an all-around usability, the way that this car is aligned is it's going to be more approachable for most people, because it gives you plenty of warning and margin of safety net before it starts getting really snappy and edgy on the limits of its grip. If you really want to hoon it, just a couple tweaks on the alignment, soften the rear bar up a little bit, and off you go. Let's see how it is around the skid pad here. Oh man, it's got a flat bottom wheel. I'm not used to that in the slide. So let's try it again. hats off to you, Lawrence, and Sarasota Super Sport Performance. You guys put together quite the package in here. You have my signature of approval for buying the V8 Miata program from Flying Miata. It's really, really good. Well done, guys. Well done.